Hello and welcome to the Dental Insiders Podcast, the industry's single source for the greatest news and industry insights from visionaries in the dental industry. Our guest today is none other than Dr. Lou Shuman.
And we are very excited to have Dr. Shuman with us. Dr. Shuman is the president and CEO of Seller & Consulting Group, and he's personally known for his expertise in internet strategy, strategic relations, emerging technology, digital marketing methods, and operational practice management. Dr. Shuman is an executive consultant for a number of entities in the dental industry, including Cavo Kerr Group, Dexis, iCat, Pelton & Crane, Propel Orthodontics, WEO Media, Z Quiet, HR for Health, and Implant Direct.
Are you going to read that whole thing? We're going to be here all day if you have to read that whole thing.
There's a tremendous bio in front of you.
I know. Okay, so this was going to be one podcast, and now it's going to be 7 podcasts just to cover all this information. And
you guys are killing me.
Dr. Shuman is the creator of the prestigious Pride Best in Class Awards, which is an unbiased nonprofit initiative that, in conjunction with the leading technology experts in the field, selects annually the most important technologies in the industry. And on a personal note, he has a passion for soccer. He played for a U.S. national under-18 team and was sponsored both as a player and coach by Adidas, played in Europe, and went on to create his own soccer club in Boston with 7 boys and 7 girls teams that won many state titles and a national title. So I think we'll get into some of the other elements from the bio in our questions here, but we are tickled pink or purple to have Dr. Shuman on the show with us today. Welcome, Dr. Shuman.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. We know how busy you are, but it's nice to take a little time out of your day and kind of share, as we've described, the goal of this is really to talk to people in the industry who are visionaries. And you sort of fit the description to a T of the kind of person we're looking for to learn a little more about how they got started, what they've learned, and just learn more about them to create something new and different. So again, thanks for joining us. So take us back.
My pleasure.
I think it's always fun to learn from people sort of how they got started, what influences they had in their life. So why? I want to go back to your childhood. So where did you grow up? And I know it's kind of a strange question. Most people don't ask you. Where did you grow up, and what are some of those some of your childhood memories that you remember as a kid?
So I grew up in Natick, Massachusetts, and then moved to Weston, Massachusetts. And so that was home. And as far as vivid memories of childhood, you mentioned soccer, and actually it probably starts there. When I was 5 years old, my next door neighbor was the starting striker for the Glasgow Rangers and moved in at the age of 18 years old. And he didn't have any brothers and sisters, and at age 5, he took me on and trained me for years, actually for 15 years. And one of my memory titles, which I'll never forget, was he ended up playing for Boston University. As you can imagine, having a professional striker play for Boston University was hysterical. He broke every scoring record to date. They have a trophy named after him. But the memory that I will always be special to me is I was the mascot. I was the team's mascot, and I'll never forget. And at that time, all the players were international. And I would give out the oranges at halftime. They would all sort of huddle around me, and I would look up at these huge giants, that were like gods to me, and I would give them the oranges at halftime. And it was really special that they embraced me as part of the team. And as you know from my bio, at that point, my dream was to be like them, to be a professional soccer player and to play like they could at the sidelines. And I was blessed that Christian Palenti was his name, trained me for 15 years, and I got to ultimately play in Europe and to experience some of the things that I hoped I would be able to at that age. So that's definitely a strong memory.
Well, it's funny. That's where you and Michael have a lot in common, because he actually has always dreamed about being a sports mascot. That was his childhood dream.
And it's my adult dream.
That's right.
I just don't have the coordination or the acrobatic talent. But, that's a natural segue, professional soccer to dentistry. So how do you go from being a national level and international level soccer player to, deciding to become a dentist? How did that come about?
Yeah, that's also an easy question to answer. So my dad he's retired now, but he was a periodontist. Before that, a general dentist, and incredibly capable, incredibly talented. But where it started was when we were in Natick, he built a one-chair dental office in our very small house with a white picket fence and a rose garden and a picture window for that one chair. And what I'll never forget is the way people loved him. People would come from the Natick community. Some of them walked to the office from the neighborhood. And what I'll never forget is how much they loved to see him and loved coming. And at a very early age, I still remember going, you know what, someday I want to be like him. And so, that stuck with me for a long time. And so when it came to making a decision professionally, I remembered how much he took care of people and how important that was and how special those relationships were. And that was why I wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Cool. And I think so many people do that, right? Inside of dentistry and outside.
It's about helping people.
Well, it is. And it's once you see it.
So was your dad, Michael, a professional mascot?
No, he wasn't.
No, okay. Just checking.
Yeah, exactly. Now, want to break the mold there.
Yeah. So again, another great kind of transition to keep that conversation or that thread going is, so what technology, so you're big in technology, and we're going to talk in a second about the Pride Awards, but what technology that's around today do you wish you had back then that you think would have been a total game changer? I mean, a lot of the technology that's there today is big news, but like what back then would have just been like, wow?
Yeah, well, that's easy for me because as an orthodontist in a former life, I was given, when I left practice and went into management, I was very fortunate to work at Align for Invisalign for 7 years. And the key thing was I headed up clinical education. I was involved with strategic relations. I was blessed to be part of the growth of Invisalign into the orthodontic and dental community, but I never actually got to use it myself. And interesting enough, within my dream as a practitioner was to have a group practice. So I ultimately, as an orthodontist, had a 10-doctor, 25-team member group practice. And as that grew, I actually divided ortho into two pieces. I brought a friend in who did the kids, and I specialized in adult orthodontics, where I would do a lot of multidisciplinary dentistry, where we would do prosthetics, perio, ortho. But interestingly enough, as an adult specialist in ortho, I never got a chance to incorporate Invisalign into my practice, which would have been just phenomenal. Right. So I would love to have had Invisalign in practice before I left practice.
Cool. So Matthew mentioned earlier, and I stumbled all over it in your intro, but the Pride Best Class Awards. So the ADA just happened. As usual, we had the Pride Institute Awards. So tell us, what were the highlights this year?
Well, this was year 7, and which, of course, we could have a whole separate meeting on the dream coming true of what started as trying to make a difference in creating a program that would give the dental community the right technologies to integrate in their practice and ultimately create a process that the manufacturers would recognize as the most unbiased nonprofit, as they call the Oscars, related to that. And so that mission, as a result of a lot of people helping me along the way, has become very, very unique and special. And I would say, as far as highlights, the Best of Class expo that is at the ADA is divided into two pieces. One is the winners. The actual winners have mini booths that surround the space. ADA gives me the largest space at the meeting. We have a 9,000 square foot space. And the reason why is it's separate of the 23 winners this year that get a chance to provide hands-on to the attendees. We have a 275 seat classroom, and we do 3 days of ADA CERP provided programs on technology. And we're blessed that they're all sold out for all 3 days as a result. And I would say some of the highlights were we had a new speaker as part of the program this year, Naomi Cooper, and she was fantastic. And so a wonderful addition to the expo, and I hope to continue to have her for a long time. Her level of expertise in social media and marketing is really unique, and a great educator and a great key opinion leader. So that was one of the highlights. The VIP reception every year is a wonderful highlight. It's when we cordon off the whole space, and that's where we have the award ceremonies for the winners, and we bring special food, my famous gourmet cupcakes. We do wine tasting of very, very special wines, and it's really like a who's who gathering. And this year, we had 6 journals come to photograph it and videotape it. So it was really unique to give the award where, 7 years ago, I would have someone with one little camera. And this year we had Dentistry Day, Dental Economics, Oral Health Canada, Dental Tribune. It just went on, and it just meant a lot to me that what I wanted to start as something to make a difference has created a level of interest and respect as far as what it represents to the community. That was really special to me.
I'm sort of seeing Lou as like the commissioner of the dental industry.
Yeah.
Kind of like unites all the people, the teams, and brings everybody together.
I'm going to add that to the bio.
I think it might be something we're going to add there. I think you're the commissioner. Seems like a good.
Well, it's really funny you say that, because someone came up to me at the meeting and they go, "We have a new name for you." And I said, "Well, what's that?" They said, "You're the mayor of ADA."
The mayor.
Mayor's good. The commissioner
captures it better.
It does. Commissioner, I think you can carry a big stick as a commissioner.
Yeah,
the mayor is,
Mayor, you only get a sash.
Yes,
commissioner,
right.
you get.
That sounds cool.
On kind of evolving on trade shows, because we talk about trade shows a lot. Michael and I go to a lot of trade shows and talk to a lot of manufacturers, a lot of dentists, a lot of people in the industry, and it just seems like it's evolving, obviously. But what's your take on where they've been? You've been around for a while and seen a lot. What's the future of trade shows? Is it more like the Pride sort of smaller groups? Is it more like these seminars that we're starting to see around the country that are 50 to 100 docs? What do you think it is? We have our opinion, but we'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, that's a great question. As you guys know, I do executive consulting for 14 companies right now. So this is actually a very big deal when it comes to budget and when it comes to where should we go, and are we getting a return? I have very strong feelings about this. And I can look at, and prospectively, I'm going to give you 2 opinions, one as a dentist and one as it relates to the manufacturer. And so I think that dental trade shows are going to remain. And I think they're important because as a profession, we typically work in single offices or with a few partners possibly. And there's rare occasions where we get a chance to get together as a group, either regionally or nationally. And so the ability to, close the office and get to meet with your peers and to actually, have a more organized focus to see your community is, number one, really important to us, because we don't get many chances to do that. We have regional societies, but the bigger shows, of course, bring the bigger manufacturers. And product is critical. And the need, you're not going to be able to take an iCat with a rep and bring it to my office to try it. So with what's happening with different things in technology that will have a big impact on our practices, we still need to find a home to be able to go and to test product, to see it, to touch it, and have hands-on experience. So from the dentist perspective, I don't think dental shows are going away. I think the dentists see it as an important part of their year. It's typically an important buying part. It's get together with your community, get hands-on, and also, of course, get educations from key opinion leaders. Where I see it's necessary for this to be a success going forward is there needs to be a middle ground about the definition of education. Education right now, and it's important as itself, is something in order to get CE cannot really open the door to product education. And I think the manufacturers basically finance these meetings with the tremendous amount of money they spend at the exhibit halls. There has to be a middle ground where speakers are allowed to educate around the products that are in the exhibit hall. And not to sell them, but to educate them. Every time with the companies I work with, where there's a speaker who talks about and educates about the products that they're interested in or they feel are important, the manufacturers get a better return by being at the show. And I think that we need to come to the middle where ADA, AGD have to recognize that while they're literally paying for these meetings, that there is an educational initiative that allows speakers to talk about product in a educational perspective that will give these manufacturers a better return on investment, which I think they deserve based on the amount of money they're spending to be there. So I think that the future needs to address that.